great time at Crossing Over talking to so many speakers and leaders who are involved in the convocation, and it wouldn't be complete without some time spent with John Laabs, who is the lead of LEA and who has, served so tirelessly this organization for so many years and puts together these events with his wonderful team of volunteers and steering committee folks, and it's just a great opportunity to let you hear from John directly in a little more conversational way about some things with LEA. So, John, tell us what you think makes this year's convocation so unique compared to years past.
Well, one unique thing is the setting. We've never been in Cincinnati before, and so it's a little bit different for all of us. It took us a little time to figure out where to go and what to do, but the fact is the city is very compact. It helps us to be able to keep everybody close, which is a big feature of this event. It's a very relational event. We want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to see each other, sit like this, see each other on the streets, and that's been really nice. And it's a great city to be in.
It's a neat city. We've been, as we've walked around, there's just so much to do right downtown, and I think it is great for that networking aspect, which we keep hearing from participants is so important at LEA.
And it's partially driven by the theme as well. We actually were interactively talking about the theme development and the city. The Crossing Over has a great deal to do with bridges and the river and the National Underground Freedom Center, Underground Railroad Freedom Center. So there's a lot of meaning and significance to having the city.
So John, tell us what new things Lutheran educators can look forward to from LEA after this convention as we move into the future. What's on the radar for LEA?
Well, first of all, we've established a global perspective on Lutheran education, and we've always had it. We have the blessings of Lutheran schools and churches who are doing education all over the world, but we don't really know how to work together as well because our world is so big. The fact is it's so small. Our church is really one church. We have many people in many settings, and while they're paying attention to their ministry in those settings, every one of us is a part of a global society. So we're really talking about LEA being one of the mechanisms to be able to give people exposure to that world and to link people together. Linking, equipping, affirming, those are the three main hallmarks of LEA, and we can continue to do that now on a global level, not just within a church body or in the United States. So that's a big feature for us. We have the technology available to help us these days. People are traveling. We have people from 9 other countries represented here, and that's been inspiring. A lot of people at the Global Symposium that we had on Wednesday were amazed that we even have schools all over the country. We can't even come up with a count of how many educators serve those schools, but we believe it's upwards of 50 or 60,000, just an estimate. So, we all have a lot to learn, but we have the ability to be able to make that happen. And when you put those people together at an event like this, it's even more evident that we have so much to work with.
And the opportunity LEA has to support the teaching ministry collective within and outside of the classroom, I think, is in this global age so much more prevalent for LEA.
That's right, and those ministries are so varied today. That's the other thing too. We talk a lot about schools, obviously, because that's a big portion of what we do. But those schools are so divergent too in where they're located, in how they're organized. Everything from a small, rural, maybe 2-classroom school to a large international school in the middle of one of the most populated cities in the world. And we also find that we have so much in common, even though we may have a large school in one part of the world. That school has a lot to do with the schools that are located in other parts of the world as well. We have more in common than we have differences.
So, John, talk to us about what has sustained LEA since 1942. I mean, through changing times and now in this global environment, an age of innovation, a conceptual age. What has sustained LEA as an organization?
Well, our basic mission has to do with the needs that Lutheran educators have, and so as long as we have Lutheran education, I believe there's a need for the organization. So as far as our purpose for existing, it's important to keep in mind that there needs to be a group focused on that particular area of ministry, alongside all the other areas that are supported through national, local organizations and so forth. The ability to communicate with each other much more readily has helped sustain our organization. It's also with its own set of challenges. it's a little more difficult to keep up with everything. I mean, there's competition. People today don't join organizations as readily as they used to before. It's not for the same purposes. And yet people are on fire to be able to relate to each other. So developing relationships, keeping people connected with each other, it's something we've always been about. Now we have more tools to make it happen. So making use of social networking is a strategy that we need to develop much more readily so that we can make it happen and connect people in a way that we haven't really done before.
So last question, what, if they walk away with nothing else, what from your standpoint is the most important thing you want to see educators leave this year's convocation? Knowing, believing, being challenged by, whatever it might be.
They're not alone. Every Lutheran educator, wherever she or he serves, is a part of a global system. We have a lot in common with each other, despite our geographic differences or our backgrounds in education. We have the same focus of ministry. It's not defined exclusively by our education. It's not defined exclusively by our setting, our background, our titles, but it's because of what we share together. And we have so many people coming from such a vast background who need to make the best use of those resources. Every single Lutheran educator has something to offer in the bigger picture. They may not know it yet, but that's the reason for the convocation, so that we can help to build that up, lift people up, feel the joy that we all need to have in that ministry, and then move forward knowing that we do have a much bigger picture in mind.
Well, John, thank you, and I hope that this has been useful for our educators watching on Facebook and Twitter. I'm sure it is, and thanks for your time.
Thanks very much.
Have a great afternoon. Get back to playing in the conference.
Okay.
Yeah.